Joe Biden's victory coalition continues to hit some serious speed bumps. He's losing support from blacks, Hispanics, and now liberal late night seems to be bailing. Jon Stewart is saying out loud what a lot of liberals are privately thinking, quote, I know you don't want to say it because Trump is so scary, but he's so effing old. When you watch him on television, you're nervous, aren't you? I'm not saying that Biden can't contribute to society. He just shouldn't be president. And actor John Leguizamo is in a panic over Donald Trump's surging support from Latinos.
They take us for granted, man. Republicans are working hard. They were coming at us in WhatsApp with ads. They were coming at us in our Spanish language radio stations with all kinds of trigger words like socialism that triggers Cubans, Venezuelans, and Colombians. They talked our talk.
All right, Jesse, think about the fact that they're complaining about the Spanish language radio, WhatsApp, and everything else. They could do the same thing, but they could, and maybe that's why he says the Democrats take us for granted. They're not working.
Ladies, you know how it is. When your boyfriend takes you for granted, you start looking for another boyfriend. And that's what's going on with Hispanics. Joe Biden doesn't call, he doesn't text, he doesn't take you out to dinner, he doesn't even notice when you get your hair done. You know who notices? Trump. He pays attention. And that's what's happening right now. So right now, he speaks for a lot of Hispanics and Stewart speaks for a lot of liberals. Stewart's basically saying he's really old. It's nerve-wracking watching him walk. And that's kind of funny. And it's okay to laugh at your guy. I mean, he wears special shoes. He eats ice cream. He has a note card that says his name on it. It's fine. You have to break the seal and laugh at the guy. He's just a politician. He works for you. Yep. He's nothing special. It's fine. You get a new one in there next time. But, I mean, we laugh at our guy constantly. He's hilarious. I asked him one time, I said, Mr. President, what do you do for exercise? You know what he said? I talk a lot. What? But that's what makes him funny. And Joe has his own little things that we laugh at. It's okay.
You know, Marie, you remember Clinton, Trump, late night hosts went after them, and we all loved it. What changed?
Well, first, I think that a lot of late night hosts feel like this is a different election. And I know everyone's going to yell at me when I say this, but that if Mitt Romney had won in 2012, I don't think people felt like there would have been a threat to our democratic values in our country.
Did, but...
And I think they feel that now, that this election is different, that the threat of Donald Trump returning to the presidency is different. And I think that's why you see a lot of this. Jon Stewart, I think Jon Stewart's too old. I think Jon Stewart
Is he past his prime?
I think that Jon Stewart, he was, there's a lot of people who feel like, particularly his old show and the new one too, it's this like holier than thou, very performative, progressive, and not sort of taking a step back and saying, okay, this is the state of the country. Yes, Biden is older than people would like, but let's keep our eye on the prize here. This isn't about Jon Stewart, and it's not about trying to get viewers. He should have stuck to helping the 9/11 responders and veterans get health care.
Okay, so you're a humorist.
Am I?
Yes, and the truth is that there is so much to use, the stumbling, the mumbling,
But
the
it's a
falling.
threat to democracy. Nothing's funny about that. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter who is the Republican. It's always going to be the end of the world, right? If it wasn't for Trump, it was going to be climate change, right? That was the end of the world for a while until Trump came along.
Still is,
there are a couple of not really. There's a couple of problems with what Stewart's saying. A, everybody's already saying, and he's a little late, this is about as edgy as a soggy beanbag. And two, he's leaving Biden off the hook on policies and principles. Biden's actual substance is actually worse than his age, in my opinion, and I think it's an opinion of a lot of very smart, sensitive people out there. Stewart does something that I thought was really lazy. He mocks the anti-woke movement, the same movement that shared the risk fighting cancel culture while he was sleeping it off in his Upper East or West Side panic room. He's like a guy that emerges from a bunker after his comrades have fought the battle and won, and he looks out and he goes, couldn't have been that hard. Yeah, because we did the work while you were gone. How can you say that the woke had no policing on thought, word, or deed. People had to change how they spoke at work. Anyone with an HR department knows this. Anyone whose company implemented DEI understands how that affected the way they think and the way they do their job. College campuses, obviously. High schools with their teachers. College athletes having to put up with you-know-what. Rhymes with trans. Where the F have you been, John? I mean, have you been, you've been sunning yourself with Howard Stern and Jimmy Kimmel? They're all plagued by this weird kind of, they're in that little bubble and they're struggling to find answers and they can't get out.
Dana, why is Joe Biden competitive at all? I mean, Trump is leading him on every issue. 35% of Americans approve of his job performance and 81% think he's too old for another term.
Well, I think that if you're a Republican, you think, how in the world could anybody believe what the Democrats believe? And the Democrats look like Michelle Kaczynski that we talked about yesterday, look at Republicans like, how can you actually believe that? Because we just have different ways of looking at things. And the truth is, we are pretty much a 50-50 nation, although there are slightly more Democrats than Republicans. There are more independents than all of them put together. And one of the reasons that Joe Biden is losing Hispanic voters and Trump is competitive with them is that for a long time, yes, the actor is correct. The Democrats take them for granted. You hear that from them. But also, the Hispanics are people and voters, and they are workers. They're moms and dads. They're teachers. They're employers. They're managers. They're building businesses. And they're mad about inflation, and they're worried about the border, and they're upset about crime, and they're looking at the housing costs and shelter costs. And President Biden put all the chips on electric vehicles and told them to like it. And they're not going to put up with it. And so when you see the RNC having a little bit more of a concentrated effort, it's not just the ads, it's that the ads are meeting the voters where they are, which is mad at Joe Biden. Then on the humor thing, the late night, I think this all started in 2009, January 21st, 2009, when Barack Obama won. Remember, they never made fun of him.
Yes.
We've done this show for 14 years. Saturday Night Live, they never actually had somebody that would actually make fun of him. They would use him. In fact, Barack Obama knew this so much so that he made fun of the press and the comedians for not making fun of him because he knew that they wouldn't do it.
All right. Up next.
Right?
Yes.
Murray is like, yeah, that's true.
All right. Up next, Gavin Newsom just embarrassed himself, and it's all thanks to Joe Biden.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.